Hello and welcome to another World Cup Fantasy edition of the Dream Team Professor podcast. My name is Scott and in this episode I'm going to be sharing with you my Matchday 3 Wildcard Draft. Before we get stuck in, I'm just going to take you over my Matchday 2 team update and a little bit of context to why I am wildcarding in Matchday 3. So this week I got 113 points for the round. My total points is now 197. Let me know how you're getting on in the comments below. That takes my rank to 122k. From about 1 million last week. So I have had a pretty decent week, but Kane last night did put a bit of a dampener on things as my 12th man. So in a week where it felt like pretty much every premium came away with 2 goals, Harry Kane just came away with 2 points as my 12th man. So that is a booster well and truly wasted in that snooze fest 0-0 against Ghana last night. But we move on. I don't think it was a bad decision. But hey, didn't pay off. Yeah, Galindez in goal with a clean sheet got me 8 points. I still have Roche sitting there on the bench after not playing in the first round. I just decided to leave him there this week. Cucurella has made it back-to-back clean sheets for me, for Spain's to have got an assist this week as well, so 10 points. Cucurella doing quite nicely. Kimmich, just the 2 from him. Ivory Coast scoring in that game, and Diomande causing him some problems as well. Hincapié done me proud this week as an Arsenal fan. So he came in this week for me, actually over Ruben Diaz. So Ruben Diaz came out of the team. I took a -3 last week. Ruben Diaz came out of the team because he had that injury last week. Of course, Ruben Diaz then goes on to keep the clean sheet and starts. But hey-ho, Hincapié did keep the clean sheet himself and got scouting bonus for me as well. So 9 points from Hincapié. I took a -3 last week to make my moves. Munoz stayed in my team this week. After scoring last week, he's done it again. That was really nice to wake up to. So 14 points for Daniel Munoz. A lot of the talk going into this World Cup was people saying you're not going to get the Munoz that you get for Crystal Palace. He doesn't score goals. He doesn't attack for Colombia, but he's done it this World Cup. So really pleased with how that pick has gone. 14 points for him. And I had the double Colombia defense with Mojica at 3.9 million. Didn't get a scouting bonus. He tipped just over 5% selected. So 5.3, no scouting bonus, which is a bit annoying. But again, it is what it is. He's come in there and come away with 7 points. Michael Elise got me 9 points. So he came in for Florian Wirtz last week. So Wirtz come out, Elise came in. I already mentioned Hincapié came in for Ruben Diaz. And my third transfer as part of that -3 was Kylian Mbappe in for Erling Haaland this week. Elise did get an assist in that game. He's had some really nice performances so far. Come away with a clean sheet point as well. So 9 points from Michael Elise. Pretty pleased with how he done against Iraq. Bruno Fernandes. So he came away with 7 points, seeing more of the Bruno Fernandes that we expect after a disappointing week last week. Portugal finally doing the business and Ronaldo finally stepping up. Valverde did get an assist, but I must say, in general, this has been a pretty poor pick for me since the start of the World Cup. Uruguay just haven't been at it, getting a draw against Cape Verde here. So did get the assist, but again, Valverde over the course of the 2 weeks, considering how good the fixtures looked, has been pretty disappointing. Kylian Mbappe came into my team after game week 1 and looking so good. He had to come into my team. I brought him in for Erling Haaland, who annoyingly did still go on to score a brace against Senegal. I didn't have Mbappe against Senegal. I didn't have Haaland against Senegal because I just thought they were a pretty strong team, but both strikers hauling against Senegal this week. So wasn't really up on the Mbappe move, but I still think there wasn't too much wrong with the decision there. I did keep Oyarzabal in my team after a disappointing game week 1, and he did deliver. So 2 goals, 1 assist for him. He did hit the crossbar as well, so it could have been even more. And he was the player my armband landed on for the game week. I decided to stick with his 15 points, despite still having sort of Mbappe to play. But I thought I'd take 15 points all day long. And then on my defense, on my bench is obviously a lineup of disappointments because I've taken them out. Munoz and Mojica were the 2 last substitutes that came in. I think Bruno Fernandes was the other. So Kai Havertz blanking in that Ivory Coast match. Rafinha obviously picking up an injury and going off after 40 minutes. I know there was the talk of him being not 100%, but the talk of him being not 100% was to do with him apparently having blisters. This looked like it was a hamstring injury, so I don't think the two were related. He did actually look really good as well in those opening minutes, but again, sometimes the luck isn't on your side. And then Desiree Doué has been a pretty shocking pick from me from the start. I did like the idea of having him in this triple up against Iraq, but Barcola started the game instead of him. So again, this was a pretty disappointing one from Doué and a bad pick from game week 1. Drop a comment below with how many points you got this week and where you're sitting in the overall rankings for this World Cup fantasy game. But let's get straight in to my wildcard draft for match day 3. Drop a like if you find it useful. Subscribe if you're not already. But let's go straight into it. Just to quickly double back, I know I said that I was going to be moving straight on, but as you can see from this team, a wild card is needed. This team was sort of planned out to last me for match day 1, match day 2, and I'd already planned to play match day 3 wild card from the beginning. But if you look at the fixtures for this team, I've got Galindez and Hincapié both playing against Germany, which isn't a particularly nice fixture. Ecuador have still got things to play for, but you don't want your team, especially your defense, playing against Germany. Cucurella or Yarzabal, it's not the worst fixture today. I've still got some bits to play for, but they are against Uruguay in that match. Again, a pretty tough fixture. When you look at some of the things that are on offer this week, I've got the double Colombia defense playing Portugal, which ideally you wouldn't want. The France players playing against Norway isn't so bad. That's going to be a face-off for first place in their group. But then again, Portugal versus Colombia. I've got Valverde playing against Spain. Rafinha's obviously injured. Doué, I don't know whether he's going to start. And I've got a goalkeeper who isn't making it on the pitch. On top of that, I think this week there are a lot of good matches on offer. A lot of one-sided matches. And the further that we go into this tournament, you're going to start to lose a lot of the weaker teams, and it's going to be the tough matches left. So I think this is the final sort of opportunity, maybe around 32, but the final opportunity to really have a pop at some of these nice fixtures. We do also get essentially a wild card, unlimited transfers before going into the round of 32. So instead of this being a wild card, in my eyes, it's just a free hit for 1 week, and then next week we'll build our team for the knockout rounds. So starting off with the goalkeepers in this wildcard draft, I am going to go to the Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast versus Carousel. Although Carousel did manage a goal against Germany in that pretty big defeat, they have only scored that goal so far in this tournament. And I do fancy the chances for the Ivory Coast of keeping a clean sheet here. Again, if you use FPL Joe is a really good resource for sort of getting those clean sheet projections. 59% chance of a clean sheet for the Ivory Coast in this game. And with my keepers, I'm going to try and target that scouting bonus. I don't know what sort of effect these wildcards are going to have on the scouting bonus. I imagine there's going to be a load of movement on these percentages selected, but I think Fofana will be pretty safe. Fofana is going to come in as one of my goalkeepers here. And for the second one, I'm going to go to Senegal. So Senegal, I actually think have been pretty good in this tournament, but they have had 2 pretty horrible fixtures so far. They had France in the opening game. They had Norway after that. So they've had to face Mbappe. They've had to face Haaland. This week, they've got Iraq. Iraq don't have an Mbappe. They don't have a Haaland. And I think that despite a few iffy moments in the last game, Edouard Mendy, I think, will be a good pick as another goalkeeper. So I've got 2 goalkeepers here, both that should get scouting bonus at the time of recording. This is early on Wednesday morning, so it's not too long to go, but still around or over 12 hours. So there could be a bit of movement. I think we should have a pretty good chance of keeping a clean sheet here against Iraq. Now, when it comes to defense, I'm gonna go for a few pairings here. So if you combine the defense and the goalkeepers, I'm going to go for a few pairs to try and capitalize on those double clean sheets. It's worked quite nicely for me with Colombia last night, and I think I'm going to go for it again to try and, I don't know, one clean sheet from each team. It never really feels great. I want to try and sort of lump in on some of these defenses. The first one I'm going to go for as a double up is Morocco. So Morocco are up against Haiti, who have not scored a goal in the tournament so far. Touch wood, that continues. They have a 58% chance of keeping a clean sheet here, Morocco. But I'm going to differ in who I choose for this. So the first one, I'm going to go for Hakimi, the pretty obvious pick at 6 million. He's 25% selected, so it's no real surprise here. He's got attacking threat. He's great for attacking returns. 15 attacking returns for PSG last season. He's had 6 attacking returns for Morocco just in 2026. So yeah, I think Hakimi, a pretty obvious pick. I think I'll see him in a lot of wildcard drafts. It's going to be the double up, I think, that makes this team slightly different with Morocco. So I'm actually going to go for Riyadh at centre back. So 3.9, he's in there as a bit of an enabler. He comes in at just 0.9% selected. So hoping to keep hold of that. Well, you got to keep hold of that scouting bonus at 0.9% selected. So Chadi Riyadh at centre back makes the double Morocco defence for me. I had considered Mazraoui, but I think I'm going to need this budget, and you'll see why at the end. But I'm going to go for the 3.9 selected. But I do think Mazraoui at 4.4 is pretty good. But I just want to save that little bit of money by going for Riyadh. So that completes the double up for Morocco. Next, I'm going to move on to Senegal. So I've already got Edouard Mendy in goal. They actually have a really appealing game when it comes to attack, Senegal, this week with their fixture against Iraq. But I'm going to double up on defence. This defender does have still a good chance of getting attacking returns, though. I think you'll all be familiar with Diouf from West Ham. 4.1 million, 1.4% selected. So I think he is going to still get that scouting bonus. He's been taking some corners in the World Cup so far. We know he's got attacking threat from this season for West Ham, 5 assists. But the season before it, the reason why he was quite popular going into this sort of Premier League season of fantasy was he had 7 goals, 3 assists for Slavia Prague last season. So I think Diouf completing a double up for Senegal looks like quite a nice pick. But again, I do think more teams are probably going to have to double up or triple up with 2 attackers and 1 defender. But I have gone for 2 defenders from Senegal, or a defender and a goalkeeper. And then with my remaining 2 defenders, I'm going to go for another double up. And again, this is quite like Senegal. I don't know if many teams are going to be set out this way. I'm going to go for 2 defenders from the Netherlands. Now, again, I think attack maybe is more appealing to most people this week with the match against Tunisia. But I still like this from a bit of a defensive standpoint. I'm going to go for 1 defender first who does have attacking threat in Denzel Dumfries. 5.7 million. He's always a premium on these games, but he always does seem to deliver the attacking returns. It was a quiet one in the first match in that 2-2 against Japan, but came with 2 assists here in this Sweden match in the last game where they won 5-1. He won't get scouting bonus, but I think he basically counts as an attacker, Denzel Dumfries. So I'm going to put him in there. Great clean sheet potential, but also great attacking threat. I think Tunisia were bottom of XG created for this tournament so far with 0.3 and just 1 goal scored. So I do think there is a good chance of a clean sheet here. And then a bit similar to what I did with Morocco, where I've had 1 premium attacker in Hakimi and then 1 sort of budget enabler with Riyadh. I'm going to go for Van Hecker at 4.3 million. So again, not that much attacking threat for him, but he is 1.3 selected, should get that scouting bonus. He does have a bit of attacking threat. He got 3 goals, 3 assists for Brighton last season. But I just think the double up again in this Tunisia fixture, a team that have been pretty toothless so far this tournament, is a nice way to go. So if you look at the defence and the goalkeeper and what they've sort of all got to play for, Ivory Coast on 3 points, so should be trying to secure second. Senegal on 0 points, so this is a must-win game for them to try and get into those 3rd place spots to try and go to the next round. And then Morocco are tied with Brazil on 4 points, so pretty much fighting it out for that top spot against Haiti. They're just slightly behind on goal difference to Brazil as well, so looking to probably keep a clean sheet and get a good result going forward. And then Netherlands tied on 4 points with Japan in their group. Same goal difference. So again, they'll be hoping to win this match to try and get 1st place and try and get a few goals as well, or stop conceding goals against Tunisia. So Netherlands, Morocco, Senegal, and Ivory Coast make up my backline. Going into midfield, I feel like this first player I was late to the party on, didn't get to enjoy the spoils, and it's Saibari from Morocco. So if you started with him, you done great. If you got him in match day 2, you done great. I'm still going to go for him for match day 3 against Haiti. So he won't be getting that scouting bonus now. He is no secret now. 8.9% selected. He did get the scouting bonus in the first 2 matches of the tournament, where he scored in both of them. One against Morocco, one against Brazil. He's a midfielder and playing in attack for Morocco. And again, this Haiti fixture looks like a nice one to target. So not much more to add on Saibari, other than he does look pretty good. But the secret is long gone. It's already out. This one as well, I'm not going to spend too much time on. It's Vinicius Jr. Obviously, Brazil still trying to win the group. Again, a player who scored in both games. 2 goals, 1 assist so far this tournament. And with Rafinha now out injured, maybe Vinicius Jr. steps up on potential pens and some set pieces as well. But Brazil have got quite a few good potential penalty takers. They've got Paqueta there who can step up as well. So yeah, maybe not guaranteed on the pens, but in a tournament where it looks like a lot of talismans are going off, maybe this is time for Vinicius and to step up as a talisman for Brazil. And maybe that involves stealing the penalties. So I'm going to go for Vinicius Jr. in this match against Scotland. Now, those first 2 midfield picks I think are going to be pretty template this game week, but the next 2 I don't think will be. Now, this team have had a pretty disappointing start to the tournament. I'm considering bringing in 2 Belgian players this week for their fixture against New Zealand. Now, they're disappointed with 2 draws and just only 2 points. They are 3rd behind Egypt and Iran so far. But I just think this fixture against New Zealand looks good on paper. I do feel like they've been okay in these matches, and some things just haven't quite come off for them. They have disappointed in previous tournaments, but I'm going to go for Belgium, and I'm going to go for Kevin De Bruyne as my first pick. Now, he looks visibly frustrated in some of these games. He is putting chances on a plate for players, and they're just not converting them. But I'm backing him, or backing Belgium, to actually start putting some of these chances away against New Zealand. They have got good attacking potential in this match, maybe clean sheet potential as well, if you want to include that 1 pointer for keeping a clean sheet. He doesn't get a scouting bonus. He is at 5.6% selected. I don't think that's going to dip under. But Kevin De Bruyne is going to come in, and Leandro Trossard is going to come in as well. So Trossard will get scouting bonus at 2.2% selected. Jeremy Doku obviously left to be at the birth of his child. Trossard will be starting in this game on the other wing. Both, I think Kevin De Bruyne and Trossard have looked relatively dangerous. Again, it just hasn't been happening for Belgium. So this is a bit of a punt on their fortunes turning around, their form turning around. But it's also an opportunity to go a little bit different to what the sort of template would be with this wildcard draft, with the wildcard being really popular in match day 3. Then my final midfield pick is going to be Sadio Mane. Now, I'm not completely sold on this one, but I'm pretty sure he is going to be in my matchday 3 wildcard draft against Iraq. So Senegal have got some really, really nice attackers to choose from. I would like to have Ismail Assar in this team, but he's listed as a striker, and there's a lot of players in this format that are listed as strikers when you'd probably consider them more as midfielders. I think of Ismail Assar. I think of the Ivory Coast wingers in Diomande and Ahmad. But Sadio Mane is down as a midfielder, and he is 3.1% selected. So he should get scouting bonus. He so far hasn't been on the score sheet, but he did get an assist in the round 2 fixture against Norway. I'm going to back Sadio Mane in this one at 2.6% selected. Should get scouting bonus. He's played 2 lots of 90 minutes and had 1 assist. Iraq have conceded 7 goals in their 2 fixtures. So I'm backing Senegal to have a go of being the team that gets to beat on Iraq this week. So Sadio Mane is in there for me. I did like Jackson. I did like Sarr. But I'd rather use a midfield slot than an attacking slot for Senegal here. This moves it on to the attackers, the exciting part. And I've just spent a load of time saying why I don't want to pick a winger who's there as a striker. And then I'm going to go and pick Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo in against Tunisia. So he's had a great start to the tournament. 21 points. He isn't going to get scouting bonus at 7% selected. But yeah, brace, assist against Sweden. Always seems to perform for Holland. Holland are top of the list for clean sheets and projected goals for this week and have still got things to play for in this final fixture. So Cody Gakpo is in there for me, and they're going to try and win that group against Japan. And Tunisia looks like a nice fixture. So Cody Gakpo is in. I do have a slight tweak that I could make, which I'll show you at the end. But I like the idea of having an attacker from the Netherlands. They have also got midfielders who are an option. They do have another attacker that could be an option. But for the moment, I'm going to leave it at Cody Gakpo and move on to these other two options. Kylian Mbappe comes in as one of the strikers. So they have got a big game against Norway. So a pretty challenging match, but a match that I think France should be expected to win. Norway and France both having good starts to the tournament, both being level on points in their group, and Haaland versus Mbappe, both strikers on 4 goals. So fighting it out for top spot, and the two attackers fighting it out to try and be the top scorer in this World Cup. Kylian Mbappe has been electric. I don't think I need to spend much time talking about Mbappe here. 13 points in the first fixture. In the second fixture against Iraq, and 14 points against Senegal. I think he's going to appear in a lot of teams this week. And after match day 1, not having him and seeing him score that brace, I don't want to go through that again. So Kylian Mbappe is in there. I don't think I need to spend too much time on that one either. And then last, that leaves me 10.6 for one other striker in this team. And after last night, he should probably be on the banned list. But I am going to put Harry Kane in there with this fixture against Panama. Now, England dropping points against Ghana leaves England and Ghana both on 4 points. And while 4 points is going to be more than enough to qualify to the next round, England are going to want to win this group and get the better side of the draw, the better fixtures. And Croatia beating Panama last night puts them on 3 points as well. So Croatia on 3 points, Ghana and England on 4 points. It is still wide open in that group. So England are going to have to go for the win, and they are, I think, going to have to start Harry Kane in this fixture. So Harry Kane is going to find his way in there despite letting me down as a 12th man. He is on 2 goals after that Croatia match. Couldn't do anything against Ghana, but I'm backing him to score against Panama. So that completes my wildcard draft. I have 0.1 million in the bank. Got a nice mixture there of scouting bonus players. So I've got Fofana, Mendy, Riyad, Van Hecke, Trossard, Mane, all with that potential to get scouting bonus. And I think I've got a good mix there of attacking, defenders, and premiums. A couple slight weaknesses, maybe, that I'm looking at this team and thinking I could have potentially, is no Spain against Uruguay. I do like that idea of having Yamal. I think he's looked really, really good when he's been on this tournament. And Oyarzabal as well, also having a really good game in match day 2. So missing out on both of them doesn't feel particularly great. Ivory Coast as well, I have got Fofana in goal, but then I'm pretty light. They have got a really nice fixture against Curacao. And I just don't feel like I'm fully sort of taking advantage of that one. But I don't know if I love the idea of having a winger in Ahmad or Diomande that takes up a striker spot. And then I could go to Kesse, who in midfield possibly takes pens, but again, is he one of the better midfield options this week? I'm not so sure, but yeah, it doesn't feel particularly good to just have the one Ivory Coast player in the team. And then will Messi play? Argentina have got Jordan, and that feels like a fixture I'd want to take advantage of. But they have romped the group. They're top. It's locked in place. Realistically, should they play Messi? I don't think they will. But you never know. Maybe they want to get him this golden boot come the end of the tournament. Here's a few tweaks that I have contemplated making to my team to sort of address a few of those concerns I have. So Cody Gakpo could potentially come out for Mr. Brian Brobby. So against Tunisia, he comes in quite a bit cheaper at 5.7 million. 1.2% selected, so will get that scouting bonus. Got a brace in the last game, looking pretty dangerous, and that saves me a lot of budget to then make some changes elsewhere, which could see me upgrade Kevin De Bruyne if I do start to worry about Belgium and start to think that that could be a bad idea. I could then get Lamine Yamal in place of Kevin De Bruyne, but I still have 0.4 million to find. I could fully pull the plug on Belgium and then drop Trossard to Kang in from Korea. I think he's got a good fixture in South Africa. So I think he could be a nice option in this one. Would get that scouting bonus as well and spreads out a little bit. Instead of having two Belgium, I've got two separate teams where I could potentially get a few extra captaincy picks in there. Another alternative would be still taking out Gakpo, getting Diomande in. I know I did speak about not really loving the idea of having a winger as the striker, but he is 1.9 selected and only 5.9 million. That gets me that Ivory Coast attacker for that nice carousel match. Then I could do Trossard to Somerville at 5.3 million. He won't get the scouting bonus now, but has been on fire so far this tournament. He did start one on the bench, but still get attacking returns in both matches this World Cup campaign. So Somerville would be the Netherlands cover instead of Cody Gakpo. And then that leaves me that 10.7 million if I wanted to get Yamal, or I could even get Bukayo Saka if I do think that he's going to start the Panama game. But his minutes and starts have been a bit iffy. He's struggling with a bit of an injury, so I do think that is a risk. So Yamal's probably the safer play to go in that scenario. Or if I just revert it back to what I was set on from the start. A final alternative, and more of a simple alternative, could be just to change Kevin De Bruyne to Somerville, which I won't be able to do because Gakpo's in the team. So I'll take Gakpo out, I move Somerville in for Kevin De Bruyne, and then that frees up that 10 million, which I was spending on Yamal, to maybe go Messi if I'm fancying him as the pick. If we do get some sort of news that he seems likely to start for Argentina, but I doubt we're going to get that news today. So as it stands, I'm going to put it back to Kevin De Bruyne and to Cody Gakpo and leave it like that. The last thing I was going to just touch upon is the captaincy. As we all probably I hope we all know by this point, is that you can move the captaincy around with each match day. The only slight concern is I don't know if I have enough captaincy picks this week, so I won't be going for anyone in the Group B fixtures. Obviously, all of the group fixtures will be kicking off at the same time, just so that it's fair, so everyone knows nobody knows what result they need to get. So Group B, I would have nothing from these first two fixtures. In Group C, I would have a Morocco pick or a Brazil pick. So you get to see the lineups. If for whatever reason Vinicius Jr. wasn't starting, I think he would be the guy that I was going to captain usually if he's there. But otherwise, I'd go for Saibari or Hakimi from Morocco. And then moving on to Group A, I don't have anyone unless I went for that Lee Kang route where he could be my captaincy, but I think I will pass on Group A for captaincy. Group E, again, I would only have Fofana as my goalkeeper, so this is why it's quite appealing to maybe have an attacker from the Ivory Coast, because that Carousel fixture, he would be a captaincy option. Group F, I've got plenty of the Netherlands players in my team. I would probably go for Cody Gakpo or Denzel Dumfries in this scenario. Down to Group D, I don't have anything from Turkey, USA, Paraguay, or Australia. Group I would be the match where I'd kind of be most depending on the captaincy, and I think that would be Kylian Mbappe against Norway, but I do also have Sadio Mane against Senegal. And then Group H, I wouldn't have anything unless I did go that Lamine Yamal route, potentially, that I discussed at the end, but currently wouldn't have anything from this fixture. Group G, I would have Kevin De Bruyne or Trossard, which it would be Kevin De Bruyne for me. Group L, I'd have Harry Kane against Panama. Hopefully he wouldn't let me down in this one. And then I wouldn't have anything from the final two rounds of fixtures in Group K or Group J unless I did go for Lionel Messi in that other draft, but I don't think I am going to do it. That is everything for my Matchday 3 Wildcard Draft. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I'll see you for the round of 32.